these are my paintings, and I attended school at UConn and used paint um, and took a painting class, and it was a very good class for me because it taught me all about color and color theory. Um, Basically, my passion is color, and I started out painting from still life, and I worked into painting more impressionist um, paintings of landscapes. I do prefer landscapes, and that is what I'll be demonstrating today. Um, the the paintings I use are the paints I use are all of these. I have a fondness for Liquitex, and I use the tubes directly. I use the paint directly from the tubes, and I use more than one type. I use a heavy body, and I use a lighter version of paint um, by Liquitex. And I also have used um, these paints as well, and that is the Amsterdam version of the colors I like. So the paints are basically something that I utilize when I'm working um, to create a nice effect with the various colors. So color means a lot to me, and I have used that in these paintings. Um, the one with the hill and the tree, and um, and I've also used these paints for the impressionist type painting that I do, and I also did a painting of our cat Kitty Carlisle, and that I did in acrylic paints as well. And these are nice kits. They have all sorts of tubes, all sorts of colors, so I can do it quickly. Um, I can produce artwork rather fluently, and I like that um, I like it that the paint is so um, colorful and bright. All right, so basically, um, the first thing I do is I take a cradle board. This is a birch wood panel, and as you can see, it has wood on the back too, and it can be hung with a nail right on the wall like that. So you don't even need to put any wiring in it. Um, it what I do is I prepare it with gesso using this gesso. It's a Liquitex gesso, and then it looks like this, and it is a very nice surface to work on. So when I'm using my palette knife, I quite often use a palette knife. I use brushes. I use various size of brushes, and I sign my name with a pen, and I will draw a basic sketch onto the gessoed board. So basically, what I've done is I've decided to work on these paintings kind of combined into one. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm just going to sketch a horizon line, and then sketch out some trees, just a triangle to represent the trees, and then we'll have water in the foreground. And I like to put a lot of reflection. So that will be in the thing. So basically we have this that I prepared. This has the light coloring of a drawing on it, and I use a gold colored pencil to draw the picture because I like that it just disappears into the background of the paints. So there's no smudging or anything like that. Okay, so basically what I'll do is I'll take the paint and I'll use different types. I'll use the heavy body, and I like to start with blues. So I just put a little dab of blue with the heavy body, and then I put the other various colors of blue next to it. And this Amsterdam is so nice because it has the shades all quite closely close knit, so it's very nicely done. And then I love the Liquitex because of the texture of it, so I put that blue in here too. And this is kind of a sky blue, that a light blue, and then I love my cerulean blue. And then just to add contrast, I'll add the Naples yellow, and I'll put it on both sides. And then this Naples yellow, which is a little bit of a variation. You can see the Liquitex, I love that. And then you can add a little bit of the heavy body white too, so that it'll blend. And then basically what I do is I utilize the pad. As you can see, there's a lot of paint on it. I utilize the pad, and I just basically run my palette knife over the surface like so to bring in a lot of color. This is the underpainting, so the overpainting is different from this, but it gives a nice rippled effect, which I like. And then sometimes I even turn it and paint the opposite way. Like so. And this is how I start all my pieces. Just getting that down and layered. And then once I've completed that, it's just a lot of color, and I love it. It's my passion. So anyway, what I do is I take the yellows and I dab it a little bit, and I add the light to the picture. So basically, I kind of like this light in here. This is one that I've prepared ahead of time, and I let it dry. So I prepare the board like this. Keeping in mind that horizon line that we mentioned earlier. And then you can turn your board when you're. I like to sit cross-legged, just like the artist from India. It it's comfortable for me, and it's a way for me to paint right on my lap, which is comfortable for me too because I have problems standing at an easel, so this makes it easier. So as you can see, it's starting to come to life. And what I do is it's kind of a rough surface, but with the palette knife, it's nice. So basically, what I do is I paint like that, and then I'm thinking this will look like water in here, so I put more of the blue in over these colors, and the colors kind of show through, so I don't want to obscure all the image that's there. I want to do it basically think about my painting and actually utilize what's there. And so we develop what's already there. And you can also do this with brushes. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of white gesso, and then I will blend that with a nice Naples yellow, because Naples yellow is one of my favorite colors. And then I'll mix it together. With the brush. And then I will take, and you can wash your brush out, and you always have a rag on hand and when you put your brush in the water, make sure you touch the bottom of the bowl, because that gets the paintbrush nice and clean. And then I take a brush like this, a nice flat edge brush, and I kind of dab it, and I bring down, well, no, actually I'm gonna bring up the light. And you can always correct this kind of painting. So if there's something you don't like, you can work with it. And what we could do is we could take this brush and put a little bit of the sun in here. And use our palette knife to when I traded my palette knife for my brush for a palette knife, I was so much happier because it got so much more done. It got a lot done. I was able to get a lot done in a shorter period of time. And then you can put waves in here. And you could also use a fan brush. This was a technique that I developed studying Impressionist paintings and also studying encaustic painting, because they use the idea of this kind of thing, the tapping and the dabbing. This is our sun in here. You want to keep what you don't want to obscure what's good about it. So basically we're making a lot of texture in our paintings, and we're making a lot of reflections. So the painting really comes to life. And then when you've completed the painting itself, you can always go to the side and paint that too. So we'll keep working on this. This is kind of the sun's reflection coming down. Like so. And this way you get a lot of color on the board. And the one thing my art teacher always said was that there was so much life in my painting, so I always loved that he said that. So basically that's it. for now. Thank you for watching.